Chapter 6 4721 AR The Siege of Kalishaw Ford. Gentle had found he didn't much care for being pressed right up against his enemies in battle. Staying in the back, patching men together, was preferable to getting bloody and sweaty and risking life and limb with every swing of the sword. Yes, far better to heal, to whisper a prayer or two, maybe even let fly an arrow if absolutely necessary. Not that he was a coward, of course not. He simply wasn't as strong nor resilient as he had once been before his fall at Griffolk. He'd lost much that day. His edge, his strength, even the stubbornness of his bones. They'd never quite healed right. But it hadn't all been loss. That was the day he'd met Sarah. Sarah, who was as skilled in healing as she was beautiful. She had taken him under her wing while he recovered, teaching him techniques far beyond the crude prayers he had once leaned on. With her, he had discovered something important. His powers had never reached their potential because he was no ordinary cleric. He did not draw his strength from Urgathoa, nor any single deity for that matter. His magic bent toward the light, toward the positive, to mending wounds, to the binding of flesh. A strange thing for a man raised to worship decay. Sarah had laughed the first time she saw his holy symbol. He had carved a fly, or so he claimed, but the crooked wings and jagged body looked more like a wasp of all things, symbol of Callistra, goddess of lust, revenge, and trickery. Somehow, that had felt right. Perhaps he had let his mother guide his hand and his faith a tad too much for the first 30 years of his life. Gentle thought. Perhaps. Oh well, Gentle muttered, whenever such thoughts bubbled up. No sense dwelling on the past, especially when dodging responsibility was far easier. Since then, he had flourished. He had become a valuable member of the 11th. Healer of bones, mender of spirits. That was good. Very good. Until now. Now here he was, in the middle of the Battle of the Ford, questioning every decision that had led him to this sodden patch of earth. Boom! A sizzling ball of fire struck the archer next to him, burning the man to ash before Gentle's eyes. His ears rang with the blast. His heart lurched in his chest. Damn! Gentle hissed, ducking instinctively. That was close. What the hells are you doing here, Gentle? Surely there are safer ways to become a hero. Surely there are safer paths to vengeance. He scanned the chaos for the flag of retreat, the sound of a horn, any signal to fall back. But the damn 11th stood firm. Shields locked, faces set like stones. Upriver, other companies were already breaking, streaming away like ragged knots. Sensible men, Gentle thought bitterly. He glanced behind, measuring the path he might take to slip away unnoticed. But instead of freedom, he found himself staring straight into the eyes of Captain Aldrich Varn. The captain had a way of seeing right through a man, as if he sniffed out fear like a hound on blood. And God's help him, Gentle was bleeding fear by the bucket. Varn's voice cut through the din, steady as iron. We hold here, Gentle. If we flee now, we lose every ounce of advantage. They outnumber us, yes, but that matters little so long as we keep the ford. This bottleneck, hold it, and they break. Gentle swallowed, throat dry as sand. Trust your brothers, the captain said, softer now, as they trust you to keep them mended and strong. Then he lifted his chin, pointed south of the shallows, looked to hope. Gentle followed his gaze. There was Clark, standing knee-deep in the icy water, arms spread wide, face a mask of concentration. The river itself seemed to twist under his will. The shallows shimmered with illusion, tricking the reclamation into charging where the ford looked passable. And there they went, dozens of red-sashed fools splashing headlong into False Crossing, only to find water far deeper than they had thought. Heavy armor dragged them down, the river tugging like hungry hands. Some were swept away entirely, vanishing beneath the current. Others thrashed and staggered, easy pickings for the 11th archers waiting on the bank. Varn gave a grim smile. There, even the gods favor the bold sometimes. Varn left Gentle to it. His words did help Gentle's courage, but it was fleeting. Gentle made a heroic promise to himself. He would stay and heal and shoot arrows until he was out of healing spells. Then, he was next to useless anyway. They would do just fine, just without him at that point. Hours that felt like days went by as Gentle was covered in mud. Mud. Always mud. Caked on boots, splattered on robes, smeared on the faces of men beside him. The 11th looked like corpses that hadn't been given the decency of burial, and he, of course, fit right in. But it was time, he thought, as he cast his final cure spell. Time to get the hell out of here. He staggered back. His knees shook. His gorge rose. Run. Run, you fool. You don't owe these men a thing. You're a healer, not a killer. But then he saw them. Those with the red sashes, a cluster of them, shoving through the melee. Laughing as they cut, one of them swung a banner high, the sigil of the hollow flame. The favored warriors, the bastards he'd dreamed of joining once, the bastards who now slaughtered his brothers. And there, just beyond them, stood Heartless. Untethered now, reins dragging in the mud. The beast had kicked free, as always. Oh yes. There was the reclaimer who'd freed him, trying to mount the horse, mid-battle, as if he had any right. It was that bastard Gerund. All thoughts of fleeing burned away, replaced by red, hot, vengeful rage. Gentle knocked his last arrow and let it fly. It missed Gerund entirely. Instead, it buried itself deep into Heartless's flank. The horse shrieked, reared, and flung Gerund from the saddle like a sack of meat. Before the man could rise, Heartless came down hard, once, twice, 3 times, trampling him into the mud until there was nothing left but a broken smear. When the beast's fury was spent, Heartless stood still, reins dangling, steam curling from his flanks. It snorted, pawed the earth, and Gentle could have sworn that that damn creature glared at him with those eyes full of hate. Gentle's throat burned with a sudden cry. He snatched up a short sword from the ground, lifting it high, and charged the ford. "I'll kill you, Heartless, you worthless jackass of a horse!" Or at least that was what he meant to shout. What actually came out was a strangled jumble of slurred rage, more spit than words. But it didn't matter. His brothers and sisters of the 11th surged forward beside him, each bellowing their own battle cries. Together they crashed into the faltering Reds, and the reclamation line shattered. The battle was won. When the chaos settled, Gentle staggered among the bodies. Corpses stretched in every direction, red sashes floating in the mud, like bloody weeds. More of them dead than his own, but still too many familiar faces lay broken in the dirt. "Damn them," he whispered, though he wasn't sure if he meant the enemy, the gods, or his own cursed luck. But Heartless. He could not find Heartless. The beast had slipped away, vanished into the smoke and the ruin. Gentle clenched his teeth, certain the bastard was still out there somewhere, mocking him. And yet, the thought of revenge was strangely comforting. That was when he saw it, a glint among the dead. He bent and pried something from a reclaimer's stiffened hand, a glass sphere, no bigger than an orange. The moment he had touched it, a pulse of psychic force surged through him. Images flooded his mind. Orbs of blazing power tearing his enemies apart, incinerating the Reds, striking down heartless in a glorious storm of fiery vengeance. Gentle smiled. Yes, this is the way. He had been blessed once before, gifted with the divine path of healing. It had made him a hero of the Ford, surely. He was sure that's what they called him by now. But this was more. This was a chance to master his power, not just to mend, but to destroy. He would stay with the 11th. They would help him grow. They would help him fulfill his destiny. And someday soon, Heartless would die screaming.